can't remember what I was doing with this the other day, but basically I've adapted a Boobie board. Some of you have these, well, quite a few of you have these, because I needed just to get a serial interface to my PC. And there's lots of ways you can do this on Boobie boards. So the first way normally is you can go in and wipe the chip here so it doesn't interfere with your communications, and then the RX and TX pins here will communicate anything via the USB via this chip to that port, so you can use that right away. I can't remember the logic behind me not doing that. Maybe I just didn't want to wipe the chip and I wanted to do a temporary mod. So my temporary mod was to cut these two solder jumpers. If you look on your board closely, you've got two solder jumpers that you can cut here, just a little cut, and that'll disconnect the USB side from the microcontroller, so basically separating them like a firewall. And what I kind of did, because I guess I wanted to just go out to sort of these DuPont type connectors, is I just soldered a bit of Kynar onto these ground lugs. And I would have, and what I would have done, I would have actually just scraped here on each side through here, just to disconnect these lugs so they're not actually hooked onto ground anymore. So this centre bit is actually onto ground, and these two are just like independent tabs on here which are hooked to RX and TX. And that's all good, that's good in the hood. But I want to test out some units that I'm playing with, and these units need ideally a regular serial port. So I have this, which is a DB9 male, and I got that from my good friend Brian Jones, and you can find him on Twitter here if you want to see what he's up to. And he gave me loads of things, actually really useful things. I might do a little video on all the bits he gave me. But this thing is quite cool. I haven't actually tried to try this in anger yet. This is a resistor leg bendering tool, so you get the nice resistor leg spacing. I might number this one day, who knows. But this is the pinout basically though. Oh yeah, and by the way, I said he gave me a bunch of these. And this is the pinouts for the port. It's super easy. So if you've got a Boobie board and a bit of Vera board, you can either just solder one of these in or near here by just doing it properly, or like me, you're going to kind of just half-arse it a bit because you're likely to just retask this for something else in the not too distant future. So it's really simple. All I need to do is actually just solder these 3 pins onto a standard pinout. And you can see here it starts, if you look very closely there, you can actually read in there, this is pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9. So pin 5 is ground right here, and then we need the pin 2 and pin 3. Look, receive data, RD, and pin 3, transmit data. So they're all on the top row. And when you turn them this way, you'll see that this bit here, and I'll just zoom in so you get like a better look here because it's a bit dark on that. You've got pin 5 here, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So I'm going to take my Boobie board, and the purple, I believe, is the RX. Sometimes these things you can get a bit confused. So if you try something and you're really scratching your head, try swapping your RX and TX around, because in serial, of course, that's pretty critical. It's not like a differential bus where you can just sort of hook them up in a reasonably simple way. You do get it's easy to get confused, put it that way, and I've been doing this for years and it still confuses me and still a gotcha. Sometimes I'll just solder them on in the best way, a random way almost, and then hope for the best. Try it out, doesn't work, desolder them, swap them around. That of course has its limitations when you're designing electronics with PCBs, because then you really have to sort of have a think. Is it TX from the micro, or is it TX to your micro? This board is actually got the RX going to this reddish lead, so I'm going to put the RX on our pin, well, be basically pin 2, and then the grey, which would be the TX, on pin 3. So I'm just going to swap that around, get myself all confused. Get that one there. And one more there. And we're good. We're all good. Now, depending on your device, yeah, that's it really. Now, depending on your device, it may or may not fit in because of these lugs. And if it doesn't fit in because of those lugs, and those lugs are not wanted, You're not wanted here. Give them a twist and you'll whip them off. But then you'll find one little issue. There's one tiny issue in doing that. And you'll see it very soon. Your whole thing is going to come apart. So I'm not sure I've got a solution for you, apart from maybe replace those with some machine screws if you've got access to some machine screws. So the bit that holds it to the PCB is actually the nut on the back too. So there you go. That's kind of rubbish now at the moment, but it'll work for my needs. Hope that's of some use to you, and another little use case for your Boobie boards. If you want a Boobie board, please visit www.backofficeshow.com/shop, and you can buy them there. And when you're done, you can obviously just put those solder blobs back in, take the wires off, reconfigure it back in, back to being a Boobie board as per usual. As ever, thanks for watching.